You want a script that grabs you by the collar from the first sentence and pulls you right into the storm, no breaks, no labels, just one long, natural story that feels like someone is finally telling the truth, even if their voice shakes a little. All right, let's go. Here's your full rewrite, seamless, cinematic, and built to keep folks watching all the way to the last line. You ever have a night so ordinary, so absolutely normal, that when everything goes sideways, you almost laugh like, really? Tonight? That's how it started for me. Cruising down a dark service road outside Baton Rouge, just letting the hum of the tires and the leftover warmth from the day settle into my bones after a send-off dinner at work. 30 years of pushing paper, chasing justice, finally winding down. I wasn't even thinking about law or courtrooms for once. My mind was quiet. My phone was off, and for the first time in what felt like forever, I could just be. But you know how these things go. Peace doesn't last, not for men like me. Not when the world wants to remind you exactly who you are. Headlights in the rear view, too close, too aggressive, and then those red and blue lights hit, all urgent and sharp, and my gut just drops. You know that feeling, like your stomach left the car before you did? Yeah. So, hands on the wheel, no sudden moves. I play it by the book because I know the book. Hell, I helped write some of it. But that doesn't matter when the uniforms walking up already made up their minds. Officer Landon, squared shoulders, jaw like a cinder block, not yelling, just ticking boxes. Barnes flanking the other side, silent but watching. License and registration. Sure, here you go. Tail lights out. Which I know for a fact isn't true because I just got the car checked. But arguing with them? That's not why I'm still here breathing. So I nod, keep it calm, ask why I'm being stopped. That's when the temperature drops, step out of the vehicle. No real reason, just because. The switch flips, and you can feel the power shift, all heavy and quiet, like a storm about to break. I'm still calm, still polite, still trying to live through the night. Didn't matter. The door yanked open, wrist twisted, cuffs slapped on so fast it barely registered. My knee cracks against the frame, face pressed against the hood, burning through my shirt, my dignity. And you know what? No one on that empty road cared. Cars just rolled past, eyes forward. Nobody wants to get involved. Nobody wants trouble. You're resisting, Landon barks, but I'm not moving. I'm just there, breathing, counting the seconds, knowing silence is my only weapon right now. There's a kind of humiliation you can't scrub off. It seeps in, sits in your chest, makes you small, even when you know the law better than they do. Doesn't matter. Not in the dark. Not with these guys. All that matters is I'm another black man in cuffs, labeled a threat, hauled into a station that smells like bleach and disappointment. The desk officer barely looks up. They walk me down a hallway lined with pale blue doors, every one a little piece of someone's story rotting in the dark. The sergeant on duty sizes me up, snickers, another loudmouth in a suit. Huh? I could have snapped back. Didn't. What's the point? I've seen enough to know the script. Past a bench where some college kid, white as printer paper, sips water with his phone in his hand. Not a cuff in sight. I notice things, you know? The cell door clangs shut behind me. Mattress thin as hope, walls smelling like damp regret. Someone scratched their anger into the paint, but it's too faded to read. E-seat. My wrists are raw. My mind starts drifting, and before I know it, I'm thinking about my cousin Jordan Good kid. Wrong place, wrong time, one bad night, and the system just swallowed him whole. Never the same. Took his own life 6 months after he got out. They wrote depression on the report, but I know what it was: hopelessness. And now here I am, staring at the same ugly ceiling, wondering if I'm next. You ever feel invisible and exposed at the same time? That's jail. No privacy, no time, just the flicker of a busted light and the sound of someone else praying through the wall. I lean back, breathe slow, try not to feel. But I can't help thinking all those years fighting for justice. What does it matter now? They don't see a prosecutor, they don't see a badge. They just see a black man, and that's all they need. Morning comes, and the courtroom is colder than a meat locker. Not in temperature, but in spirit. Judge Callahan sits like she's carved from ice, prosecution slick as oil, and my own lawyer Rosa, young, too green for this whispers. We got no footage, no logs, nothing but their word against yours. She's fighting, but you can see it wearing her down. The system doesn't even pretend to be fair. The prosecutor, Stokes, paints me as a menace. The judge doesn't blink. Every objection just disappears into the void. But you know what? I'm not surprised. This is what I've seen my whole career, the system, closing ranks, protecting its own, facts be damned. Landon and Barnes testify, all polished and smooth. He was non-compliant, aggressive, threatening. No cameras, no dash cam, just their voices spinning the story. Rosa tries, she tries, but the judge shuts her down every time. Officer testimony is enough. She says, you hear that? Not evidence. Testimony. Just word from men in uniform. The jury isn't looking at me. One old man in the back, maybe, but most avoid my eyes, already decided. The twist there always is one, comes from the gallery. Maya Ricks, a journalist, sits scribbling, and when our eyes meet, it's like she sees right through the mess. She doesn't look away. Later, she'll matter more than anyone expects. But right now, I just sit there, stone-faced, because I'm waiting for the moment that matters not yet, but soon. Back in the defense room, Rose's shoulders slump. I'm sorry, Marcus. I don't think they're going to listen. And that's when something clicks in me. I tell her about my first trial. The kid who flinched and got a year for it, came out broken, ended up gone. The law isn't blind, she says. Sometimes it just won't look. There's a quiet in the room, but it isn't defeat, not anymore. Rosa straightens. If we fight, they'll dig up everything. You might lose. They already lost. I say, they just don't know it yet. So when the moment comes, I stand against my lawyer's advice and take the witness stand myself. The room shifts. I let Stokes ask his loaded questions. Then, with every eye on me, I take out my badge. Assistant U.S. Attorney. The silence is electric. I tell them I needed to see how far the system would go what it does to a man without a title, without protection. That's when the whole case turns. Judge finally grants access to the radio logs. Stokes loses his smirk. Landon and Barnes look like they swallowed nails. And that's when Maya in the gallery starts typing, and I mean fast. Her story hits the net before recess ends, and the world starts to watch. People gather outside, not just friends but strangers, folks who've been hurt by the same system. The leak drops internal emails, memos about body cams, tail light script, even one calling a black man in a suit an agitator. It blows up. Rosa, stunned, brings it to me. I just asked for a pen. You want another twist? Maya, sorting through protest photos, sees her own brother in the crowd, kid cuffed by Landon years back, vanished into the system, never saw justice. It's all connected, like we're each carrying a different piece of the same burden. The next morning, the courthouse is surrounded by people, teachers, parents, veterans, all holding space, all waiting for something to change. When the judge finally returns, she's not so sure of herself. After reviewing the logs, the evidence, the mess they tried to hide, she finds me not guilty. And, for the first time, recommends an investigation into civil rights violations. Landon loses it, yelling, "This is political." But nobody's listening anymore, not really. The story isn't about him now. The story's about all the voices like mine that never got heard. Walking out of that courthouse, I don't feel triumphant. I feel hollow, honestly. The fight's not over. But as the crowd parts, as Maya lifts her camera, as Rosa squeezes my shoulder and nods, I get it, this wasn't about one case. This was about cracking something open, letting the world see. I visit my mother in the hospital that night, just sit by her side, and when she squeezes my hand, says, "You did the right thing," I almost lose it. Not from relief, but from the weight. The weight of surviving what should have broken me. Maya catches up with me later, no notebook, just a quiet understanding. This wasn't a win, I tell her. It was a warning. She nods. She knows. The noise swells, press conferences, resignations, investigations. But at home, alone, I write on a legal pad, not as a prosecutor, just as a man. The world listened because I had a badge. But what about those who don't? And that's the truth, isn't it? Sometimes justice isn't loud. Sometimes it's just a man standing silent, refusing to break, making everyone else finally listen. So tell me, after hearing all this, where do you stand? What's justice to you? Drop your thoughts below. Let's hear your truth, not just mine. Because the story's not over. It's never just one man on trial, it's all of us.